Hi, friends. Welcome back to today's episode of the Life with Loverly podcast. We have some giggles going on now.
We really do. I like this new setup right here.
We brought props.
We did. This is something really fun that we're going to talk about, but I feel like this just kind of like set the mood for the day. So
I agree.
Yes.
So we thought it would be fun to talk through experiencing our year. Aside from just like a word of the year, which you and I both have.
Yes.
But instead of like a specific word or resolution, let's talk about how we're going to experience it.
Yes.
There's something fun that is called romanticizing your life. And we're going to just talk through what that means for each of us, how you give you some ideas of how you could do this for yourself. We've both been implementing it. I know you really started last year and I really started this year. And it's been so fun to just kind of like take a breath and like just be intentional.
It's like literally stopping and smelling the roses.
Yeah. Which is so funny that I think just in today's world with like technology and just being busy and schedules, and it's like, I have to go here and here and here. It's so hard to do that. And when we were kind of prepping for this episode, some of the things I was like, this seems silly that this is like on my list. But if you slow down and like do it intentionally, it just feels so much better.
I know. I think whenever I started last year, I saw like a little breakdown of what it meant. I think it was on Pinterest, honestly. And it was just like romanticizing life. And it was like this little blurb. And we're going to tell people this. But when I read it, I was like, wow, it seems so simple. And it does seem so silly. But when I started like really taking it in and enjoying it last year, I was like, where have I been my entire life?
Yeah.
You know, like I've not experienced things to this extent up until now. It was very new. It was silly. It was like take pictures. It was, you know, visit your city, but like as a tourist and like experience new things. And it was a little life-changing.
Yeah. I think too of just, again, we're so busy. And especially like depending on where you are in a season of life, like I have young kids, it just feels like I'm constantly like, oh gosh, like running around, my mornings are crazy. But doing like little things has made a huge difference. It's like even in the busyness, I'm still just like elevating what I'm doing in a way I know means I can like take a breath.
I think that it's even more important with you having littles because you think, I mean, day to day, it's gone.
Yeah.
Every day passes, it flies by. Some of the ones that I know that you are going to talk about, I couldn't help but smile because it was like, you know, dancing with your kids at night. And it's like, those are the things I wish that I would have taken in the moment. Yeah. But they're so special and they're so fun when you look back at them.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us what it means to romanticize your life.
This is what I found last year. It was romanticizing your life means appreciating and finding beauty in everyday moments, no matter how small or ordinary they may seem. It's about shifting your perspective to see your daily experiences as special, meaningful, and even cinematic, like you're the main character in your story.
I love it. It's so true.
It is.
I mean, one thing that just like comes to the top of mind for me, and I know we're going to break this down in a second too, but so our mornings are just like wild, you know, getting the kids ready for school. And I try to wake up and get myself ready before they come down. And then it's like, okay, let's brush teeth. Let's pick out clothes. Let's eat breakfast. You know, the puppy has added a whole other layer of like, okay, like you guys got your breakfast. Like I got to be outside. And I found myself like making my coffee in a like really pretty coffee mug. And I found this like beautiful, like something that I've like pinned on Pinterest that I was like, I just love this. And it gave me literal inspiration from pulling up my Pinterest, finding something that I loved. I found a very similar looking teacup and saucer in HomeGoods. And I started making my coffee and drinking it out of this teacup and saucer in the morning while the craziness is still happening around me.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I'm just like, that reminds me to like take a breath, to slow down, to enjoy those like conversations instead of like, get your snack, get your lunch, you know, and the busyness that it can be. And that's not to say that like every day isn't like a wild ride.
Right.
But I've just noticed myself being like, I am going to like soak in this moment. And it's literally holding like the coffee cup and saucer and just like loving that sip while I'm still experiencing the crazy, but I've just like shifted my mindset on how I'm going to experience it.
I love that so much, the teacup situation. So I kind of want to take it back for just 1 second. Is this year we kind of did this at work, if you think about it.
So true. We started the year off like kind of
inspiration.
Yeah.
You know, it's really inspiration. And, you know, you find joy in inspiration. And one of the things you started doing was pinning your inspiration on your Pinterest board. And we talk about it every week at work.
Totally.
I think this is something that you can do for yourself too. Like I started an inspiration board and it's for work, but it's also like, it's for us too.
Yeah.
Like what's inspiring
like how you want
us.
to show up.
Exactly. And I think that it's played a role in so many different facets of life, like what I'm wearing, like how I'm feeling when I wear it, you know, what I'm doing to relax. It's self-care, but it's also like the things going on around you too. It's not, I don't feel like it's a selfish thing.
Right.
I think that you're kind of like, honestly, kind of showing up
right
when you do this.
And showing up for yourself.
Yes.
Well, so we started the year off, we had our leadership retreat and you and Kristen brought all these like supplies to make these vision boards. I think we've talked about this briefly. I actually brought my vision board. So for those of you guys watching, this is my vision board I brought from home. I still kind of like need to fill in a few of these things. But so many, I have this set in a spot in my closet that I like see every day. And somehow I found this top word or like phrase which says the epic vision. And so every day I'm reminded of like these are the things I put on my vision board to like love, to romanticize my life, to like continue appreciating. And it just sort of like has reminded me every day to like soak those things
Absolutely.
in. Yeah. I just love it so much. And it also was like reminding me to like, ooh, I need to start getting my outdoor furniture ready. I need to, you know, all the things. But we're going to also share, if you want to make one of these yourself, we'll put like the details of how to do that in the show notes because we've talked about it a little bit before. So that would be like a fun
thing. We can
thing.
reshare the video of like how we all got together.
I mean, literally it was such a great kickoff.
It was.
But then back to your point about Pinterest. So, you know, my word of the year was inspiration, or it still is.
Yeah.
And I wanted to find like inspiration for myself, but also like give inspiration to others, just like intentionally, which intentional was a word of mine like 2 years ago. And I still feel like I'm like bringing that into play in every year I create like a new word. I just love that one. It like keeps coming with me.
Yeah.
But like Pinterest, it has been such a fun thing for me to just like freely feel and look through Pinterest and get inspiration and pin things and then bring that to the team and talk through it, you know? And it kind of like makes me think like, what if people like got your friends together and you were just like, hey, like, let's talk about like our visions. Let's talk about like what's inspiring me.
Yes.
You know, like, hey, I love like this. And if somebody were to do that to me, every time I saw that item out and about, I would be like, oh, I know that they would love that.
Yes.
Like, let me send a picture to them. Let me brighten their day in this way.
Or if like, this is the way that I've used it too, is like, I am showing up for my friend in the way that she wanted to like kind of live through this year. And it was like staying in and like really like enjoying in time and not having to go spend money. And I'm like, oh, let me think of those things so we can do those now, you know?
I know. It's just like, what if that was like your girls' night?
Yeah.
You know, you guys all like brought your Pinterest together. Yes. It's like, here's my top 10 things I'm loving right now. And
speaking to my millennial heart, you know?
I know, right? Yeah.
I love it. So we put together some like ideas and kind of some of the things that we do.
Yeah.
Honestly, to romanticize life. And the first one is like morning rituals that feel special. So yours is one of them is the teacup and saucer with your coffee. Is there anything else? Do you do quiet time in the morning?
I do quiet time. I listen to a podcast that is just, I honestly feel like life-changing. I started listening. Her name's Pamela and her podcast is The Daily Devotional. And it's like a 20-minute you know, devotional, and she like does a Bible study and prays. And I'm like every single one, I'm like, how did you say that to me? And I needed to hear it, you know? And so that's just been like super cool to start my day off like that. But I'm, again, being really intentional and being like, that's something I'm not going to miss.
Right.
And it's been really awesome. But even just like, you know, going for a walk and listening to it, or just getting myself in a place where it's like, okay, I'm ready to consume this before I start the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I know that at one time you were doing like a gratitude journal in the morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which those are amazing. Those are also like a great gift. If you have like, you need like a random thing to gift a friend, like a little 5-minute journal. They have like a few different ones. We've done like the 5-minute and the gratitude before, but one thing with the gratitude journal, you don't even have to have this journal. Even if you just made a list in your notes app and it just says like 3 things I'm thankful for. Mm-hmm. And every morning you wake up and you type out 3 things I'm thankful for. That is also life-changing.
It's starting your day off with positivity. And that's always how you want to start your day. You kind of step into the day with the best of intentions. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. Morning rituals is something I want to work into mine. The sleep thing, you know, I'm trying to get that nailed down first, but I really do. I feel like starting the day off, I used to start with an hour, 30 minutes to an hour of just me time. And maybe it was 30 minutes of working out and then it was quiet time, or 30 minutes of working out. And then it was like, you know, journaling. Yeah. Journaling, even just talking about like things that were great and happy. Yeah. Just again, to start off in a positive light. For the day, that's something that I do want to work into mine. It's one of the last things. I feel like I've worked on everything else.
I know. Well, and it's so funny because I feel like I covet sleep.
Yes.
So if I'm like, oh, well, I could sleep in, like I really need to get in the habit of being like, nope, getting up. Yeah. I'm like doing this for myself.
Yeah.
They say, you know, I think there's a book, something about like the 5 a.m. club.
Yes.
People who like get up at 5 and, you know, because I feel like the 5 to 6 hour is really where I can be super productive, like in a workout, or just like intentional with time there. Because by 6:30, the kids are starting to like come down. And so I feel like I want to get more consistent with like waking up at 5 and being consistent with it. But sometimes sleep just.
I know. The mornings that I have woke up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I do go ahead and get up and I do start my day. Yeah. So, I mean, I make them productive if I can't go back to sleep. We'll get there. We'll get there, guys. So sipping coffee slowly. Like, I think this is something we already were really good at.
Yes.
We were already really good at this, but it's enjoying it. Like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to have an iced coffee with honey, like refresh. Yeah. You know, it's warm outside.
I know.
I'm going to enjoy every part of this.
I agree. So this morning Tuesdays, I go to the gym in the morning, and on my way home from the gym, I pass a Jittery Joe's and it has a drive-through, and it's like the perfect, like it would be wrong not to stop type situation. Yeah. And so this morning I stopped, I order my drink, you know, I see the people I see every time, and I leave and I like take that first sip, and I literally audibly said, this is so good. Like, yes. I wanted to go back through the drive-through and be like, y'all, this is it. Like,
yes,
so good.
Yes.
But it's just even remembering what that feels like, that what like brings you joy, you know, that's going to keep me going back. Cause I know like that's going to just bring something up that like makes me feel really good.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw my story before you got here.
Oh, wait, no.
Okay. I said, one of the things, the exercises that I'm working on is like just finding a piece of happy. Like, what can I look forward to in the day? Yeah. And it can be simple, like literally can be simple. And mine's simple, but it brings me so much joy. Opening up a Coke Zero, click, the aluminum pop. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I did. I was like, this is like the most magical part of my day right here.
It's so simple,
crisp
but
little
it's like
Coke.
Caring about
that Coke is like the one thing I look forward to. You know, so
we're really simple humans.
Literally, very easy to please. Creating playlists. Have you ever done this?
Yes.
Oh, I love doing. You know, I love music. So
true. So we have some friends that are coming in town this weekend, and we usually will we try to see like our families try to see each other every 6 months or so. And when we were there at their house in the fall, one thing I like always noticed is like every morning once everybody was kind of downstairs, all of a sudden like music would start playing. And it was just all of these like great songs. And it was just like playing through their Alexa like throughout the day. And towards the like a few days in, I was like, okay, this playlist is so good. Like the kids were jamming to it. And Nick was like, oh, this is my like girl dad playlist. Like, do you want me to share it with you guys? And I just thought it was so funny that he had like made this collection of all of like probably music he grew up listening to, like some of the girls' favorite songs, had a Spotify playlist that they like started their day with every day. And I was like, yes, I would. And then it started getting me thinking, you know, there are some songs like the girls are always like, can you play this song? I'm like, let's get that in a playlist.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So my whole family, like all four of us, are music junkies, like anything from 70s to current.
Yeah.
And they grew up with us, obviously, blasting like everything down their throat. But that is one thing. Our Alexas in the house, I don't know what we would do without them. We constantly have them playing. I mean, I can tell you every Sunday, Robert gets up, he goes to the grocery store, and he comes back and he starts like cooking or getting stuff ready for the day. He turns on Maroon 5 Sunday morning. Like that is like,
that's the start
yes,
of it.
And that's the playlist. So it plays things from that, but it's just like, that's what we do. And it's just, it's nostalgic. You know what I mean? Like you would hear it and you're like, oh, I remember the Sunday mornings, you know?
Well, and it's sometimes I feel like you already know what song's like coming next. And so you're already like, you're ready.
Yeah.
And then later, if you ever hear that song, it takes you back to, oh, like, that's our Sunday morning thing.
Yes. I have a playlist for when I read books. I also like noise too, but like if I want to write or whatever I want to do, I usually have a couple of playlists that I go through and I choose from. I love it.
Yeah.
So Bluetooth, wherever you're at, like it's a magical thing.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Handwriting notes and letters. This is such a fun.
I know.
I think one thing that I love about this is pretty stationary.
Yes, that's exactly what I was about to say. Buy the stationery.
Yes. I mean, I find reasons to like give notes to anybody. We went on a girls' trip earlier this year to Highlands, North Carolina, and we were just shopping throughout like a bunch of shops. And I found like 2 different really cute note sets that I was like, I don't need these, but you can never have like enough of them. You never know when you're just going to need to like write a card or like drop off a bouquet of flowers and with a handwritten note or like a congratulations for something. I always really appreciate it when people have done that for me, just like random notes or like, hey, I'm proud of you or I'm thinking about you. And I just think it's like a really sweet way to get what you might like send a text message to, like get that on paper so they can like physically remember it.
I agree. Because I mean, you save those things. I don't know about you. I save those things.
They're like in a drawer, in my drawer, in my bedside table. Same. All of the like,
I'm like, these are special because they actually wrote like a personalized note.
Yeah.
You know?
My friend Molly is really good about that. She'll just like randomly pop a letter in the mail. And then, you know, I'm like,
stamp and all.
Well, yeah. Because she lives in Atlanta.
Good job,
so we don't
Molly.
like see her all the time, but she'll always be like, hey, thinking of you, like proud of you for XYZ. And I'm always just like, gosh, like the intention of getting the note, writing it, taking it to the mailbox, you know, I mean, there's something special, but I think the recipient would really love that.
I totally agree. We talked about journaling a little bit already. This one was on mine and yours. So dressing up for yourself.
Totally.
Just because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we buy these clothes, you know, and sometimes it's like, well, oh, I'm going to wear that for this event, or I'm going to, you know, maybe wear that on a date night some night. And then like, what happens if it just comes and goes and you don't ever wear it? Yeah. But you could wear it, you know,
and feel
no
fabulous.
One was ever like, oh, you're the most dressed up person in the room, and like, ew.
Nobody says that.
You know, if anything, it's like, ooh, like I want to do that next time.
People will look and go, wow, she looks fantastic.
Totally.
They are not going to look at it in a negative light. And that's what I think whenever I'm like, could we dress down and maybe be casual, or should we dress up and just be a little bit nicer today? If we don't know the vibe, just dress up.
Totally.
Yeah.
I also just feel like it just gives you this instant like confidence, this
Yes.
happiness. If you love what you have on, if you're like, ooh, this, like you look in the mirror and you're like, yes, I'm feeling it. You're going to feel that throughout the rest of the day.
Agree. I think this is what we talk about whenever we talk about you sharing fashion, like dress with confidence. You're going to
Totally.
feel so good about yourself.
Totally. Yeah, definitely recommend. Also, like, wear the heels. I am such like a heels person. I just like, even if they're not like crazy high,
Yeah.
just like a little something to like make you stand up a little straighter also really helps.
Did you see what I had on today?
Yeah. Your silver heels.
Yes.
I'm wearing heels too. It's so funny because so we'd usually record a lot on Tuesdays, but we have like casual days in the office. And so that like most of the team are dressed casual. And then I feel like I come in like heels and I'm always like, oh man, it's casual day. Like one day I'm going to just be like casual.
We'll actually do a casual podcast. Yeah. I know. I freaked out or what was it, 2 weeks ago? And I was like, oh, I forgot. This is why I don't like to dress up on casual day, or I don't like to do casual. I'm like, I can't do it. They're going to see me in it. It's a me thing, guys. It's so a me thing. Setting the mood at home. This is something I feel like you're really good at, like just in general.
I just will randomly be like, you know what? Let's like put on some music. One thing we intentionally did in our house was like speakers throughout. Yeah. And so I have an app on my phone and I just like play music from it. And I like candles. You know, I don't love a lot of
I was gonna say,
overhead light.
You do not realize this, but I think your lamp situation is a huge part of this.
Yes, I am a lamp girly.
She's like, my daughter stayed at her house and she's, turn the lamps off at night, but you turn them back on in the morning.
I know. Whenever I go out of town and I come back and like Chris has been there with the kids and like all the lamps are like off dark. And all I'm like, oh my gosh, have you guys been living like this? You know, because in the morning I kind of like open our house, like turning on all the lights, like the lamps.
You open your house.
I open the house.
Love that so much.
And that doesn't, I guess, translate. Chris is not, you know.
Maddie's living in the dark all week.
I know.
Literally.
I thought
She's
about that too. I'm like, Maddie, you gotta get the lights back on, girl.
Some of the other things is like just when you're at home, and I think that some people are catching on to this, but like use a wine glass for your Coke Zero or for your sparkling water.
Yeah.
Like just elevate it a little bit. Instantly, like I instantly am like, I'm just relaxed.
Here she is.
Yes.
She's relaxed.
Exactly.
You know, and it's just like you're just consuming your beverage.
Exactly.
The same way.
Exactly. My candle warmer has been one of the best things that I've done. So we have 2 in our house, one upstairs and one downstairs. And that Capri Blue volcano gets clicked on whenever I get home.
It's so nice. It just is like something about like the smell. Entering a room, like feeling like I notice it when I go in other people's house. Like I remember vividly, I think because of the smell, we did small group at Shay's house next door. And I walked in and I noticed like she had this candle burning and she doesn't normally. And the whole time I was just like, I'm so proud of her for like lighting that candle. I mean, we do small group at our house like every week, but for some reason it was probably one of those like psycho quick cleans and like, oh, let me just like light something to give us some livelihood in here.
Yeah.
And I always think about that. I'm like, but remember that one time when you like lit the candle?
The candle, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so funny how those like little things just stick with you.
Yeah, I love that.
I think another thing with setting the mood at home that I've been trying to lean into is like certain antiques or certain... Like I got this really pretty blue and white china. A friend of mine for my birthday last year, she gave me like a set that I could like build on. And so we would like eat dinner off of those plates instead of just like our regular stoneware, you know, and something about that, like having a salad like on the green cabbage salad plate is just like, I love this experience. Like I'm going to consume the salad regardless, but what if there was just like a little bit of added happy off of a plate when, you know, I mean, you could have picked from this cabinet or this cabinet.
With any of these, like my response is always like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
I know. Like I totally agree.
Capturing aesthetic moments. This was something I did really I wouldn't even say aesthetic, but like capturing moments.
Yeah.
I did it really well last year. And for some reason this year I have not. I've been in the moment, which has been great. But then I'm also like, I loved being able to just scroll back through my album and go, oh, that was so fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I forgot we did, like being able to experience it again.
Totally.
Going through it. So I've got to get better about it this year because I enjoyed that so much.
And I think with this, you will probably see a lot of people kind of sharing their like camera rolls. Yeah. On Instagram lately. And I kind of love just like, you know, where people would be like, we can photo dump. And it could be like a soccer field, their coffee, like
absolutely
unedited, just like
you get to see my nails, you know, whatever I did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I love that. Just look back. Mm-hmm. I'm such a picture person obviously this is my job.
Part of the job.
But when I was in college, I always had like my digital camera. Wherever we went, I was always like, hey, let's take a picture. Let's take a picture. And it's so funny because the guy that I dated in college was always like, oh my gosh, like no more pictures. And I always think like he would not have survived this life with me. Like, no. You know, like there's no way like I could do what I do now because that guy hated photos.
Yes.
And anyway, obviously didn't work out, but I just always remember being like, but I want to like remember this. Like I want to look back and be like, ooh, yeah. But he was like more of like a photographic memory person. And so he was like, we don't need to like look back on it later. Whereas I had to like see it again to be like, ooh, the feels.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Can we just time out for a second and talk about that for a minute? Like you and I talked about this the other day on text message, how we used to always carry around our digital camera and we would literally go home and upload every picture on Facebook.
Like I would edit it with the crazy contrast edit.
Yes.
You know, just to like
think of your aesthetic now though, and then think of that. It's like, what happened to us?
I mean, every photo. And then we also would name the photo album like a catchphrase from the weekend. You know, so if it was like a song that kept playing
inside
or like
joke.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was it the other day that we were like?
We were talking about Zachary Weber on Audible, how he is the GOAT, guys.
So good.
Love him so much. And you were like, it's Zachary. And I was like, always Zachary.
Yes.
And you were like, that sounds like a caption for the weekend. It's just the
it's
joke.
Always
you know?
Zachary.
Yeah. Yeah.
It literally could be. But like, think of how many times I'm going on a girls' trip next weekend to Charleston and I'm already like,
get it ready for Life of Loverly, you know?
To like what's going to be the phrase that we all just stick to.
Yes.
And that's going to be the album title.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Those were the days.
It was. Okay, sorry. I had to go off script for a second because I was like, we actually just talked about this. This is hilarious.
Unloading your, camera roll.
Yeah.
And just like, even if you don't make it public, you don't like just going back and like feeling those feels again. And, sometimes I feel like on Tuesdays when I work out with my trainer, he'll be like, how was your weekend? Like, what'd you do? And I'm like, what did we do?
Agree.
I'm like, I don't even remember. But then later I'll go back through and I'm like, oh yeah, like this, I loved the way this made me feel or being outside or whatever, even if it was just like a simple weekend.
Yes. That's why I need to get back on it.
Yeah, truly.
Oh, this is...
You love doing this.
I do.
Okay, exploring your own city like a tourist.
Yeah. Visiting new coffee shops you've never been to. Going to we love to do bookstores we've never been to. There's so many independent bookstores out there. Honestly, even if it's a new Barnes & Noble. We have started going just to cities, like day trips outside of Georgia.
Yeah, you and your mom just went to Chattanooga few weekends ago.
Yeah, and Hannah and I did that in January. Greenville's next on the list because it's just a couple hours away.
Everybody loves Greenville.
Greenville's so good.
Yeah.
There is so much to do in Greenville and there's so much good food. There's so many opportunities there. But that is something that I have found so much joy in.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Well, I even think just, strolling.
Mm-hmm.
We have friends coming in town this weekend and I'm like, what if we just walked downtown and just strolled in and out of stores? I feel like we don't do that anymore.
No, we don't.
I mean, and obviously all of this depends on where you live, but just being intentional and kind of not worrying about your time.
Agree.
You know, if you have like a afternoon and it's like, hey, I'm just going to stroll around and window shop. I mean, my mom and I used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
Not intending to go buy anything, but just browse.
Yes.
That was like the therapy that I didn't know I needed. And
yes.
Maybe that's why I have a shopping problem now, but I don't know.
I think it's, and maybe not everybody's like this, but we used to go on vacation and we would have like, we would just go to the beach and then do lunch and then go out to dinner and then go back to the place. It was like very repetitive.
Yeah.
And last year it stormed the entire time. So we were like, what cities are around here? So we were like, let's go experience something else. Just being very intentional with like checking out your surroundings.
Yeah.
I mean, in any capacity. My mom and I are going to California in October, and we were originally just going to go for the weekend for this event we're going to. And then we were like, no, my mom's never been.
Yeah.
So I was like,
well, also it's like kind of far to just like be there for a weekend.
It is. And so I was like, it's also her birthday. So I was like, let's experience it. So let's go for several more days. Probably doing that in June too, in Knoxville.
Is this your PTO request?
Officially, it's already in.
Just kidding.
It's officially at the end. But yes, but it's just like really going in and experiencing something to the fullest. Yeah. Instead of just half-assing it. You know?
I agree.
You know?
No, totally. Okay, you put this one on here, romanticizing the rain.
Yes. And this is like just think of how we always go, oh, it's supposed to rain tomorrow, or
Man,
oh, it's supposed to rain this weekend.
I love a rainy day.
I love it too. I will pull out my blanket, my Barefoot Dreams blanket, and I will cuddle up. And if it's cold, fireplace comes on.
I know.
You know, get a book out, get a book light, and go cuddle in the corner of the sofa.
I know. I
Love
mean,
it.
I feel like on like a rainy Saturday, I'm like, let's watch a movie, kids.
Yes.
And then maybe they're watching a movie and I'm kind of in the breakfast nook area in those like big white swivel chairs and I'm like reading right there, you know, and like it's you're cozy. It just is like, why does it have to be like, it's raining?
Exactly.
It can just be like, ooh, an opportunity to like snuggle inside.
I also have started looking at it like, because we always talk about it on the weekends. We're like, oh, we've been at work all weekend. Then it's going to rain on the weekend. Great. I'm like, you know what? That means you got to relax.
Yeah. It's like a forced time to just chill.
Yeah. Because trust me, yes, I would love to do some yard work. But guess what? Not this weekend. It's fine. You know?
That's very true. Oh, take a bath? Yes, please.
I love a bath.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually taken 2 in the last 2 weeks. And it was literally just to like be quiet.
Yeah.
You know?
Just like sit there. That's another thing. I will like turn the lights down, light a candle, get a glass of wine. You know, and sometimes I want to read a book, but sometimes I'm like, I just want to like not think. Like just
Same.
like just sit here with my eyes closed.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got this really cool bath tray recently. Or I guess it was like last year during the Amazon Prime sale in October.
Yeah.
And I have loved it. So it's like acrylic with these gold handles and it goes perfect in my bathroom without being like, oh, there's like a wooden tray.
Yes.
And I just like set stuff on it, even just for like it's sitting there when we're not in the bath or whatever. And the kids like they sometimes will take a bath in our bath and they love to like put it back up and like get it all set back up.
I can see Hazel playing with things on it.
Literally the other day she put like my coffee cup, my toothpaste, like all of this stuff was just my phone. And I'm like, what just happened right here? So it's, you know, kids' toy. Bath, you know, accessory, whatever.
And if you want to read, those things are so good for holding up Kindles.
Mm-hmm.
I know somebody that actually uses their clicker in the tub.
Really? That's actually so smart.
That way you're not having to like constantly get up. Like literally just your arm could be in the water and it's just kind of poking out and they're just click, click.
They're like, how can I stay like the warmest?
Submerged. Exactly.
With like a little bit of your hand out.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I love to read a real book in the tub. It also feels, I have a Scribe now, so it's like an iPad.
Yeah, seriously.
So that's a little scary.
You pulled that thing out when we were going to New York and I was like, what is this like iPad you have?
Literally.
This is like what it looks like. But then you're like, get your pen out and you start like, okay.
I get so many messages. They're like, what is that?
Yeah. What kind of reading device are you?
You see, I'm old and blind, so we get the big ones.
Wow, making the fonts bigger.
I'm just kidding. I'm not that bad at reading yet. Not yet.
Another is finding magic in nature, doing like like taking a walk, doing like a sunset walk, or, we love after dinner walks is something that like we kind of do this with our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Where everybody will just go for like a quick, like little stroll, get the dogs out. And it's just like such a great way to like continue digesting your food, but like just take in like the night. And now that it's daylight savings is here and it's brighter, it just feels like so relaxing, but I'm spending time with others or just like, you just have great conversations on walks.
And I find like at night, and this is a me thing, like if I'm walking at night and it's like after dinner, so it's closer to sunset, I don't really need anything to listen to. I love listening to the end of the day.
Yeah, so true. Like the tree frogs, like the crickets, like things are just like, I don't know. And that's, I feel like, starting to happen a lot more now that it's getting warmer.
Yes.
I walked outside with Abel the other morning and the birds were like awake. And
really early.
I was like, oh my goodness, like this is happening.
Yes. I noticed that too the other day.
Silly, but like I feel like the birds are starting to
They're
be
back. That's why. They're like, we're coming back from the south. Yeah.
They're chit-chatty at our house.
Yeah, it was like 5:30 in the morning. I took the dogs out and I was like, they are ready to go.
Yeah. Even just like a simple thing of like, let's say you're crazy. You can't do any of these things all day. You're in meetings, you don't have time for it. Like at the end of the day, getting outside and just like no shoes, feet in the grass, grounding is, even if you just have to do that for a minute, it's crazy what a difference like that, just like breath and like that cool soil feel below your feet just can relax you.
Yeah.
It's almost weed picking season. And I am actually thrilled. I've already started. I have a problem. And Chris is like, okay, like come inside. It's getting dark.
Yeah.
You can leave the weeds. And I'm like, oh, but like there's just like the act of just getting it out of the ground.
Meanwhile, I'm like, bring on the spray.
Yeah. We have that too. But this just feels like, I don't know.
I'm not a dirt kind of girl. After seeing your girls play with worms, I was like, this is the difference between Brittany and I.
Oh my gosh. Literally. Did I show you the video yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I like worms. I can't remember what she said.
Did she say? Or, I forget.
Yeah.
But her little voice, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I've got to save this. Sometimes Hazel says things and I'm like, this would be great, like audio for like a Instagram like reel, because it's just so like sweet and goofy.
It's
and
so little, but so grown up. Like it's like, did that just come out of her mouth?
I know. Okay, what are some other fun things that you love to do?
I actually this year made a bingo card.
Ah,
yes.
Yes. Didn't you make it shareable? Like you did it on your stories? Okay, you got to share that on Life with Loverly.
I will. I can give an example and then we can share like a little like plain one so people can fill in the blanks. But this is not anything that's like life altering. This is just things that you're like, I want to do them. So I just want to put it somewhere so I can check it off.
Yeah.
I have it in my work notebook taped to the front. I have it in my planner. I have it at home in my home planner. So I have it in 3 different places. So I can, whenever I think about it and it's like, oh, let me check back. Oh, yeah, cool. I've already made my reading goal. Check, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Some of them are givens. Like it's going to happen,
right.
But that's the fun part of it. Like you being able to kind of check it off,
Totally. I mean, come on. Who doesn't write like a few things on their to-do list that they like,
seriously,
know they're gonna accomplish, or maybe have already accomplished, and it's like, check.
Yeah. There was like things like, again, it was like the reading goal. And then it was take the trip out of the girl chat.
Yes.
I
keep thinking about that. Like for next week, I'm like already ready to be like, set my camera up and us all like walking in or something and be like, we took the trip out of the text thread or something like that.
Exactly. So just those little things. It was like experience, towns outside or cities outside of Atlanta. I just wanted to have fun. So I was like, let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
Like sometimes even just writing it down. you know what I mean? Back to journaling, back to some of those other things, but like just writing it out gives you that like, okay, I'm sort of holding myself accountable. It's like leaving my head, going here. Let's like revisit that again.
It was like just another way to like use the vision board. You know what I mean? And it didn't, again, I didn't want it to be serious. My vision board is my vision board, but like
For sure.
I took some of that and transferred it over into like, oh, this will be fun to check off, you know? I'm not trying to be stressed about it. So
I love that.
Yeah. Antiquing. I think that's one thing that we both really have a lot of fun in. And it's just like going and it's the storytelling of it all.
Totally.
Like, where did this exist before? Like, I want to know, you know?
I know. A friend of mine one time, we like rented these designer bags once when we were in New York like several years ago. And she's like holding this bag and she's like, you know what? I would love to like invent something where when like a bag went to a resale, it came with like a card that told you like all the places like the bag has been before you got it.
How
and then
fun.
you could like fill out the next like places you took it.
Yes.
And I was like, that's such like a cool way to think of. I mean, that was specific to like the purses we were carrying, but I mean, think about that with anything, especially at an antique store or like buying anything resale. It's always like, I wonder what conversations were had, you know, sitting on this chair or whatever.
Agree. What else do you have on yours?
Okay. One thing I love to do is buying fresh flowers.
Yes.
I like go to Trader Joe's every week, pick out my assortment, get home. I've like started telling the girls like, okay, like let's make a bouquet for Nana or let's take one over to Shay. And sometimes I'll just get stuff for one, but I always have fresh flowers in our kitchen. Sometimes I'll get enough stuff for 3 and like do different things with them. But that's something, it just brings me joy. The act of like cutting the flowers and making an arrangement is always just like, I don't know. And then throughout the week, I'm like, ooh, look how pretty that turned out. Or, ooh, I'm really loving that combination. Or sometimes I'm like, ooh, I'm not getting that one again because like that did not like sit well or whatever.
Yeah. Having it change up from like a faux situation. There's a lot of joy in that. I love that.
Yeah. I feel like having intentional time with Chris, you know what I mean? We talk about romanticizing our life, but I think it's still important to like romanticize your marriage. And so whether that's like us going outside and like sitting out on the back deck or something after the kids go to sleep, or like just doing different things than just sitting and watching TV.
Agree.
Or making sure we're doing our date nights and being intentional, putting our phones away. And that's been like really important. Then we end up having great conversations and things like that I'm like, okay, it was super enjoyable.
Yeah. Robert's never been a brunch guy, but like he wanted to do date night. We couldn't do date night. So I was like, brunch on Sunday?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like it doesn't have to be the same routine thing.
Like changing it up.
Yeah.
Let him experience some of the fun things that I'm doing, even though that's not necessarily, but he was like, brunch, dude, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Chris and I used to do brunch all the time when we lived in Atlanta before kids, and like when we were dating, we tried like so many different brunch spots. We loved brunch so much so that at our rehearsal dinner, we did all brunch food.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
So awesome.
We loved it.
We went to a creperie.
Oh.
They like only do crepes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you got to tell Chris about that. His grandma, when she was alive, she used to make homemade crepes.
Oh.
And he like talks about them all the time.
There's so many ways. Like I've only known of like the sweet versions. Well, we had a savory version, and I was like, wow.
I know. There's like, you can put anything in a crepe.
Seriously. It was a little French like restaurant that's only open from like, I don't know, like 10 to 3 in Brazelton. It's so cute. But yeah, it was a fun little new thing.
Yeah, I love that. Another thing that I've loved doing with my kids is like dance parties. So I will like, they'll be in the bath and I will like turn the music up in our bathroom like super loud, and I'll be outside like dancing and they're like in the bath, you know, so I'm like, we're getting clean.
Yes.
But I'm dancing. They're laughing at me. They're singing the songs, and then they get out and they want to dance.
Yeah.
And it's just like a sweet way to end the night, but also like get their last little bit of energy out, you know, bounce around. They like feel like it's like a fun time with me being silly and dad being silly. And it was funny the other night, you know, I feel like they're still like young enough. They don't know like some of the words to certain songs.
Right.
And so we were playing like literally all genres of music. And I was like, okay, should we be like playing rap music as we're like, you know, we were going from like Christian music to country to rap back to like Christian, you know, we were all over the place, but it was so funny. And the kids just like loved it. And
Yeah.
like, Chris would be like, oh, this was your mom's favorite song,
Yeah.
like back in the day. And I'm like, okay, maybe
Friday nights in college.
Yeah. But those like things, I feel like I'm gonna remember those things.
You will, because I used to do that with the girls all the time. Again, because music was just such a huge part. I have very specific memories of LMAFO. I don't know if you remember that party rock song.
Yep.
They wanted to learn the dance, and like we would spend night after night after night trying to figure out the dance. I mean, Bryn was like 18 months to 2 years old, like tiny, you know?
Well, I even think about your kids now when they are like, y'all be on vacation or doing something and they're like together learning like a dance.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're like doing it together, you know? So it's kind of like that's just aged with them.
The TikTok world, you know, aged well with them.
No kidding.
They danced right into it. Yeah.
That's funny. Something else I've been doing a lot lately is eating vibrant meals, like color. And just, you know, it's funny because I feel like when I started feeding my kids back when, you know, like they were eating more than just like bottles or formula and making sure that their plates had like color.
Yeah.
Hazel loves like all the white colored things. You know? Like,
amen.
Which I'm like, same, but we need to like make this a little bit more vibrant. And they've been trying new things. And it just, I don't know, I just love color. And it's so easy to do in the summer.
Yes.
Like strawberries, berries, like different vegetables, and like make your plate have color. It's good for you too. So
absolutely,
that's been like a fun kind of thing. So it's funny because for those of y'all who are just listening, we kind of zhuzhed up our space today with some flower bouquets and our teacups, and it just, I kind of like want to bring some props and like fun, like
I think
jazz
that we do this
our,
all the time.
I know,
but we need to drink out of these next time.
I know we have our like iced coffees.
Yeah.
Also, is there anything better than this sound?
No.
I love it. But next time we'll do like different coffee in these cups.
Chat
so
with
sweet.
life with Loverly.
I know. I mean, our tagline is grab an iced coffee.
It is.
What is it?
Grab an iced coffee and let's do life
together.
You threw me off for a minute. I was like, what is it?
Yes. Anyway, well, I hope this inspires you guys to just be intentional, romanticize something in your life, you know, take that walk, write down those things that you're grateful for, buy the flowers, have the dance party, do those little things that you're doing anyway, but just allow them to bring you joy. Life is too short to not be happy in your day and
1000%.
Not like love what you're doing, even if it's like a chore that you don't really want to do.
Right.
We've all got to do those things. So
yeah. Hike up the music and dance while you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been a great episode. Until next time, friends.